What's up, y'all? It is your boy Jarrell, and I am back again with another episode of Did You Know That Shit? Where I am going to be speaking about Black history facts that are not normally taught in schools or are just not normally taught at all because, here in America, they want to keep us ignorant to our past. My face. You see this? My face is breaking out like pretty bad. I had a bad reaction to this facial cleanser, but it didn't work for me. But I am currently working to get that situated. Anyways, today, I am going to be speaking on someone whose story just really could be inspiring, being that they took a negative and made it into a positive because they went from being born an enslaved individual to becoming one of the first real estate moguls in Los Angeles. Now, who am I speaking of, do you ask? I am speaking of Biddy Mason. Biddy Mason. Biddy Mason. Shout out to Selena and T.S. Madison. But anyways, we're going to get into this because I like how this story ended. And I'm sure you are too. So let's get started. Yeah. Mason. Okay, so I am going to be reading, so I am going to be looking up and down a little bit just to make sure I get my stuff straight. It is what it is. Take it how you're going to get it. Anyways, Biddy Mason was born enslaved in Mississippi in 1812. And she was owned by slaveholders in Georgia and in South Carolina before she was returned back to Mississippi. Now, once she got to Mississippi, she was given as a wedding gift to a Mormon couple named Robert and Rebecca Smith. Now, Robert was a Mormon convert who wanted to follow the call of the church leaders. So in 1848, he decided to move him and his enslaved individuals to the West. Now, at this time, Biddy was 30. And on this trek from Mississippi to the West, which they were actually going to what we know as today as Salt Lake City, Utah, because at the time it was still a part of Mexico. But during this trek, Biddy had to walk behind the 300 wagon caravan. She had to walk while they were riding. She had to walk. Do y'all hear me? She had to walk 1,700 miles from Mississippi to Utah. Now, being that even she had to walk, she still, when they settled to take a break or whatever, she had to set up the camp. She had to prepare the meals, herd the cattle, and she had to serve as midwife to Rebecca while also taking care of her own 3 daughters who were at the time 10, 4, and an infant. Now, side note, it's rumored that Robert was the one that fathered these 3 children. And knowing the history of what we've gone through in this country, it's a big possibility that is true. But anyway, during this trek, Robert decided that he wanted to move from Salt Lake City to California. And this was after 4 years of being in Salt Lake City. They were like going around trying to set up Mormon communities. So he wanted to move from Salt Lake City to California. Now, before he went, Robert was born, and they told him, they were like, Robert, don't take your ass over there to California, because you take your ass over there to California, you're gonna have to give up them people that you call slaves, because it's illegal in California to own an enslaved individual. But I guess Robert was like, fuck that, I don't care, I'm still gonna go. I'm gonna go. I want to go and create a Mormon community. So what did he do? He packed up all his stuff, his family, his enslaved, his cattle, his enslaved individuals, his cattle and all that, and he moved from Utah to California. Now, when they got there, Biddy got in touch with these people who were Black and they were free. And they told her, they were like, Biddy, it's illegal for you to be enslaved here. So you need to go to court and tell them about your slave status so that you can become free. So what Biddy did was she went to the courthouse and she had him brought in on a writ of habeas corpus. So before that even happened, let me backtrack a little bit. Robert was like, okay, so they really are going to try to make me give up my enslaved individuals. So let me move my family from California to Texas. But he was stopped by this family called, they're the Owen family. And one of the Owen children was like in love with one of with Mason's oldest daughter. And so that's how they were able to kind of create that bond to where they would stop Robert from leaving with Mason and her children. So when she brought him to court, it was her daughters, and like 10 other slave individuals. And there was a mob of people who were against this shit. They were like pro-slavery. So they were coming in drones like, no, let him keep them, and he deserves it. We are for slavery. We should be able to keep our slaves. And yeah. They all crying and shit. So they had to actually put Biddy and her children and these other enslaved individuals in jail just to keep them safe until they were able to see a judge, which is crazy. Like, you have to be put in jail just to be safe from people who are for slavery. This country has some fucked up history. Damn. Anyway, on January 21st, 1856, the LA District Judge, Mr. Benjamin Hayes, he took on the case and he decided to side with Mason and the enslaved individuals. And he ruled that all of them were able to be free. So Biddy actually ended up taking the surname Mason from the middle name of hopefully I'm saying this right, a Mason Lyman, who was the mayor of San Bernardino and a Mormon apostle. So I guess he was one of the people that kind of went through and petitioned for them to be free. So she ended up taking his middle name as her surname, because something I didn't mention, Biddy was actually not born with the surname. Her real name is Bridget and Biddy is her nickname, but she was never given a surname. So she took the surname Mason. So now that Mason was a free woman, her and her daughters and those other 13 individuals, she decided to move her and her daughters to Los Angeles, where they worked constantly and they were saving up money to the point where Mason was able to buy a house at 331 Spring Street in downtown LA. Remember that address. We're going to get back to why I'm actually telling the address. So Biddy was employed as a nurse, a midwife, and a domestic servant. And she was one of the first Black women to own land in Los Angeles. Woo woo! Shout out to Biddy. So Biddy was actually a very, very intelligent businesswoman. And as a businesswoman, what she decided to do with part of her land was use it as a temporary resting place for people who were like traveling through with their horses and carriages. So people would stop there and they would pay her to stay on her land. So this was considered one of the very first parking lots in Los Angeles. So Biddy out here setting trends while being a businesswoman. Now, with everything that Biddy had been through, she had became a philanthropist by opening her home to the poor, to people that were homeless, or if you were just hungry, like she would cook you a meal. And through all of the hard work that she was putting in, she started to not only save, but she started to invest into other properties. So she saved enough money to actually buy a building to build a school. She's bought buildings to build hospitals and even churches. And the more she started to accumulate, the more land she would buy. And so she would end up actually accumulating a fortune of $300,000, which would be around 6 million in today's money. And her most noted accomplishment is founding the first AME church in California. So Biddy, she was known for the saying that goes, if you hold your hand closed, nothing good can come in. The open hand gives in abundance, even as it receives. I like that. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. If you hold your hand closed, nothing good can come in. The open hand gives in abundance, even as it receives. So Biddy Mason ended up passing away on January 15, 1891 at the age of 76. And she was buried in an unmarked grave in Evergreen Cemetery. And on March 27th, 1988, which was 91 years after her death, the mayor at the time, Tom Bradley, decided to hold an occasion where they would honor Biddy for everything that she's done. And they even gifted her a tombstone during this event for her gravesite. Okay, so back to 331 Spring Street. That is now a memorial site for Biddy, being that it was the first place that she purchased. It is now a historical site, and you can actually go there and learn about Miss Biddy and the things that she's been through and the things that she has accomplished. So if you ever are in downtown LA, take a visit to 331 Spring Street. So with that, this concludes another episode of Did You Know That Shit? On the remarkable Biddy Mason. Now, folks, I do give the short versions of these people that I speak of, even though I've only done 2 episodes. I'm only giving the short versions because in today's world, I'm gonna be honest, y'all attention span is a little, so y'all get bored pretty quickly. So being that I am giving the short versions, I do want you all to take the time to go out and actually research these people, learn about these people, educate other people on these people. You can either show them this video, show them articles, but do the research. Start learning about people outside of the people that they normally talk about. Because if you notice, they always limit us to Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, et cetera, like this, always the same people that they teach us about. So go out there and try to learn about people that are not normally talked about like I do. If there's anybody that you want me to speak on, please let me know. If there's any information that I left out, please leave it in the comments. If there's anything that you feel or have found to be false, please again put it in the comments. Also, make sure you follow the For Shytz and Giggles podcast on all of our social media. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube videos. Like, people, we know you are lying to us about watching and listening. Okay? Follow us. Like our shit. Comment on our shit. Subscribe to our shit. Okay. Also, give us some feedback. Let us know what we can do to be better. You know what I mean? Like we can't know that something is not working if you don't let us know. So let us know. Like let us know, what you would like us to talk about, what you feel is working, is not working. Let us know. We are trying to build a platform. This is a team. Y'all are going to be like our fuckery team. So let us know. But let me get up out of here. I appreciate y'all for watching, for listening. This has been another episode of Did You Know That Shit? Biddy Mason. One of the first real estate moguls in Los Angeles. Peace.